ESPN's Woj reported that the 76ers head coach search will include Sam Cassell, Mike D'Antoni, Monty Williams, Nick Nurse, Frank Vogel, and Mike Budenholzer. Obviously, Cassell was an assistant on our staff this time around. Monty was assistant with Brett Brown, and D'Antoni was a part of the process Sixers, 2015 and 2016 seasons assistant.
We could have made up that list.
Yeah, we could have.
We didn't need Woj to come out with that to make up this list.
Yeah, we probably could have. We probably could have just come out with that.
All the fire guys.
I probably would not have included Vogel, but yeah, all right.
Guy that's coached, high-profile players
the
last recent years and won a championship.
Yeah,
and assistant on the bench.
Yeah.
And the guy that we already have a relationship with that has coached James. Like, we could have come up with that list like that.
Yeah.
Give me someone that I'm like, whoa, he on the list? I don't see a name like that.
JJ Redick, the betting lines have him, like I said, as a.
I'm saying that Woj say him.
No, he didn't. No.
Okay, so I'm saying that I'm talking about the list that Woj came out with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my question is, obviously, there's everyone.
Jay Wright, is that one you're talking about? Like Jay Wright, that'd be out of left field.
Jay Wright, but Jay Wright name has come up with Philly before.
Always.
I know.
So that's what I'm saying. We could have Jay. That name, like we could have. That's not a surprise to us.
Yeah.
No.
To hear Jay's name involved.
It became a cliche over the years, actually.
Yeah, I mean, we thought we were going to pull him for Villanova, like so. That's always been the case.
So a lot of people online are speculating about this. You have some people who love the idea of D'Antoni coming in and kind of creating that Houston Rockets kind of vibe with us. Also, Embiid wanted D'Antoni before we ended up hiring Doc a couple years ago, but I think that was to help lure Harden over. But that's what the reports were. But who would be your choice if you guys had to choose? You guys were the decision maker on this, but also what direction do you think we would be headed in with each one of these candidates?
I have no idea, man. I don't know. I don't know what James is going to do. I don't know what Morey's going to do. I have no idea. I have no idea. You got rid of a coach. We had the third best record in the league. I don't know what you want. I don't know. I have to see what it is that they want to do, what James does. I have friends that tell me, y'all need to let almost everybody that texts me about or call me about the Sixers, almost everyone say that we need to let James go. Everyone. I haven't had one person tell me we should bring him back. Now, they also aren't Sixer fans. They probably aren't James Harden fans, obviously. But that puzzles me that not one of my friends, not people that I talk to about basketball, nobody says we should bring him back.
And that's just a player. That's not talking like salary, what he's demanding.
They don't speak about salary at all. They're looking at the player.
Pure player. Okay.
Yes. Now they say some things that I don't agree with, obviously. But I'm just saying it's like I can look at my phone like right now and I can just look at every message that I've seen since they not even since Doc has been let go, but since we lost game 6. Every message it's probably 25 to 30.
Damn.
Not one said James should come back. And the majority of them don't even know his status as far as free agent. You know what I'm saying? Most of them are saying that we should trade him because they have no idea that he could be free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't know his contract. So it's not like that kind of conversation where they really dialed into, the salary cap and what he has come in and how much money. Like they don't, like Teja does. So they ain't in his pocket. So they don't know like that. They're just saying they all feel like in order for us to go take the next step, he can't be there. So that's why I find it very interesting when you say the sources said that it was him or Doc. When majority of people out there think we should move on from him. Maybe Doc too. But I'm just saying, I think it was just as many people for who I speak to that feel like if Doc should go, he should go too. and kind of like give it to Maxey and go get some pieces. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Like, I really don't. Like, I need more time to kind of see what we're going to do. Like, I don't know. Having James there or James leaving, I think some of it and who we get in free agency and trade for, it all depends on who you bring in as the coach. I think it can all be related. If you're talking about D'Antonio, then yeah, you probably need to get some more shooters. You know what I'm saying? Some more, versatile guys that can defend two positions and switch a little more. And that's why I say it's hard because I don't know the direction. I know what direction as far as us wanting to win a championship, but I'm saying I don't know the direction as far as style of play that we're going to have. So until we decide that, it's kind of hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, like what we should do.
How would Embiid fit in a D'Antoni offense, Eric? If that's the route we went,
I don't know. Like, because I think everybody when they look at D'Antonio, they look at Houston more than Phoenix. In Phoenix, they played with a 5 that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
That got the ball in ISO. I think it's sort of the same. You give him a little more ISOs, and that's how he played with Amari. I would look more of how he played Amari than how he played in Houston. But D'Antoni's a good offensive mind, so he'll figure something out if that's the route. But I mean, they're all good candidates. They'll figure something out. I just don't know what we can do and how we should do it as is until we kind of get a candidate or get a guy in place.
And how fast do you see this going? Because I know NBA goes a lot faster than the NFL coaching cycles. I know that they try to get this done sooner rather than later.
Well, obviously I think it would happen before the draft. But I think the 4 teams that are playing right now, I don't see a change with those teams. So I think it'll start picking up now with this move right here, because then you add another team to, that listed. What we said for us is probably the same list that's for Milwaukee and Toronto.
Yeah.
In Phoenix, it's probably the same list.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard T. Lue's name being pulled, but then that would just open up another spot.
Yep.
So I think that with this opening up, I think you'll start seeing it go pretty quick. Some of those other places have been open longer. So I think because someone's going to fight for those candidates, someone's going to grab one of them. And you want to make sure whoever you like between that group, you have to get him locked up.
You want to get your pick of the litter.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that the whole pick and roll offense has been a big debate with Sixers about the reliance on it, and that's one of the key things to D'Antoni's offense is the pick and roll, right? So, well, okay, hey, let's get to a more versatile offense. That's
what I'm saying. Like, that's what I didn't really understand. It was like pick and roll. Like, isn't that what James did? Like all the time.
Yeah. Personally,
that's what when you said that, Marcus, that's what threw me off. I'm like, pick and roll. James don't like pick and roll. Like, okay, you say so.
Personally, I think the coaching change shows I don't think we're going to make very many changes or improvements to the roster. I think we're going to try to gain an edge with the current roster with a new coach. We're hoping a new coach can unlock more things to the offense and more things to the team. Maybe they're hoping it brings maybe a D'Antoni hire would bring Harden closer to Houston Harden. Maybe they're hoping Maxey unlocks another more potential to his game and goes to a new level, takes another leap. Maybe they're hoping we're not as reliant on Embiid by doing this. I know, so I've seen a couple of polls on this. I think Nurse has actually been one of the biggest favorites of the choices. If you want in-house continuity, what's that?
Who's been the favorite? You said
Nick
Nurse.
Oh, Nurse. Okay. Favorite one.
What you say?
Why?
I don't know. I saw a couple polls online and
just people
most
voting.
fans like Nurse.
Wow.
I don't know.
We got to know if we're just picking the guy. Like we just because why? Because we beat Toronto. Like what? Like what for what? Or Toronto beat us? Like what for what?
Hey, he's another championship coach.
I'm just saying, but what does he do that's gonna help us?
I don't know.
Okay, we're just voting then.
Yeah, they were just voting.
We're
I think they were
picking
just
somebody.
voting.
Yeah, I'm just saying. There's no
Actually, he won because they probably hate the other candidates more than him. That's what it probably is. They just didn't like the other guy. That's what happens a lot of times. There's a lot of Dan Tony haters out there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them just be like, no Dan Tony, no way. I'm voting for whoever else is there. And then you can go with continuity with Cassell, right? You could do that. The guys are familiar with him. He's already in house. He has the player's ear. From what I've seen, he does give some pretty good tough love with them, and has their respect.
Sam's gonna do that. He's not gonna be afraid to say what he needs to say.
Although the notion with Harden and his extracurricular activities and the team not being a fan of it or the coaching, I would assume Cassell was also in that group of people that didn't love him overdoing his extracurricular activities after some bad games. So, but who knows?
I don't know how you can just put that on Doc and not everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be more than just Doc thinking that, right? Cassell, I'm sure when Doc went back to the room, it was like, man, he needs to come in and just do some work. He can't be going.
If it was a case, if it was such a case like you say, I would imagine Sam was summoned to have the conversation before Doc ever did.
You mean with Harden?
I can believe that, yes. If it was as going on as long as we say. So it doesn't seem like it was an isolated incident.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I in my experience and in my belief, Sam was summoned to have the conversation with him before Doc ever did.
Because if Doc does it, it's a bigger deal, right? Your head coach is coming to you, talk to you about partying too much. Whereas an assistant's like, hey, man.
And then it's nowhere else to go but not good after that.
Yeah. So when Sam came back, Doc would be like, how'd he handle it? Like, not good. It's like, all right, well, I'm not going to say anything.
And as a player, you know it's coming from Doc.
Yeah, exactly, though. Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's no
probably.
It's no
but at least he actually did make the
Coach Brown telling, having a conversation with AI about, what he needed to do on the play. Allen know it comes. He know that's coming from Coach Brown.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
Yeah. I guess it's like the optics, but it's not actually the coach saying it to you, right? Hey, I never said anything to you. I
mean, you can't necessarily say it's the coach because you didn't talk to him, but we all know.
Yeah. Because then Marward might be like, man, Sam, I know you don't give a shit about this. Who is this? Is this Doc asking you to ask me? Like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
He'd just be like, James would be like, man, come on, dude, man. Like, you play, you know how this goes, man. It's not like, and then it's just like, Sam gives his spiel of how it look and the optics and the team and other guys see it. And, make sure that, like, you just look like you're not dialed in. And I know you are. I know you dialed in. But this is how it looks, and all that feel. That's how the conversation go and all that. Man.
Very delicate, very, very delicate, polite conversation with James on that one.
Yeah. So.
But I will say, going on, if they do hire a guy who has been okay with those things in the past, that doesn't send a great message. So if they do hire Dan Tony, I personally think, I don't know what you guys say, that maybe they didn't fire Doc for Harden, but if they're hiring Dan Tony, a guy who has enabled old bad habits of James, I feel like that would play a factor.
Let you in on the secret. it doesn't matter who they hire. James is going to do what James feels like he wants to do. As long as he's at practice, on time, and when he's supposed to be there, and he's at the games, and he's not late, and he's not missing things, on his free time, he's going to do what he wants to do. And no coach is going to change that.
But do you think management hiring a hard ass instead of hiring an old buddy of his sends a different statement or message to him?
Are you hearing what I'm saying?
No, you're still going to do it. But I'm sorry, the message to him, though, like we want you to change your habits, or we're hiring a guy who's been cool with you doing that. You're okay.
Hear what I said. On his free time. I didn't say on the Sixers time. On his free time. He has the ability to fly somewhere and come right back and go to practice.
Yeah.
This part right here isn't new to the NBA.
Yes.
Guys have hung out and does like that's not new.
Yeah.
It's when it invades the locker room and it invades other people when it starts impacting the team.
It has though with him though. It did in Houston. There were some bad stories with him in Houston.
Yeah, and he was an MVP.
He was at one point.
I'm just saying that this year he was 20 and 10, 20 and 11, and led the league in assists. That's what he did.
Yeah. Yeah. But apparently not happy with that role.
I'm just saying, but that's what he did. So we're not talking about what he's doing on the court. We're talking about his free time. He's not having that conversation with any new coach.
If I was an assistant coach, though, and Harden told me that, I'd be like, yeah, but you were also 3 for, 15 when it mattered in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and that has nothing to do with his free time.
It doesn't?
Did it have something to do with Joel's free time?
Possibly. I'd say that more have to do with his knee than anything, but yeah.
Well, it has something to do with James' Achilles then.
Now you said he was healthy.
And so did Joel too. He didn't say he took a brace off.
Yep.
Come on, man. Like, you just can't say it about one person. If you say it about one, you're saying it about everybody.
Yeah, but we know Embiid's not flying to Vegas for a night and flying back.
We don't know what he's doing his free time. We don't know. That's why it's none of our business.
Unless it impacts the team.
I know for a fact, you can put in the same kind of work standing in Philly as James did going to Las Vegas. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, that's fair.
Stay up all night, put in the same kind of work, just without the flight, without the charter flight.
Yep.
So Teja, you didn't give your stance on the coach.
Of who I prefer.
Yeah, you didn't give one. Because you're of the mindset that we're going to keep pretty much everything together and just change the coach and hopefully they can unlock something.
I think so. Yeah,
so
yeah.
Who would be that person?
Because if you can't change the roster, what are you going to do to hopefully make things better? Coach? There's nothing else to change. What, the facility? I mean, like the weight machines? Like, that's all you really can do, right? If you can't.
If James decides to walk, you don't have a choice.
Well, that's a big roster change. I'm saying if our plan is to keep everything intact, if that's our plan, then
I don't see how that's the plan. Me personally, I think eventually they move to Tobias, even if it's now or during the trade deadline.
Yes,
because they're going to get something for him, and they're not going to. I don't think they'll re-sign him. So I think they'll move him, and then James, like I believe the stuff about James going back to Houston more than I believe the issue that he said it was between me or Doc. I believe that more.
You don't think that's just a leverage pull?
I do believe it's a leverage pull, but I do believe that he would leave for that.
Yeah,
I firmly do believe that. He's not. James isn't young, man.
I know.
Like, guys at the end of their career, you can be like, man, look, man, I'm gonna go down here and play a couple more years, live in my house in Houston. I already live there, I already have a place. Look, I'm gonna just go ahead and get these last couple years in and call it a career.
Look, I told Marcus the other day, I was like, look, if you're James and you're like, I'm not winning here, and all I'm doing is wrecking my points per game stats, I'm down to 20 points.
Getting criticized and blamed.
Yeah, I may as well go back to Houston.
I can easily see him leaving. It would not surprise me at all.
Houston
That may
can jack up 30
see
shots a
him
game.
go somewhere else, but it definitely wouldn't surprise me to see him go to Houston. Earlier in the year, I was like, nah, he wouldn't do that. But now, nah, I firmly believe it.
Because if I'm not going to win, I may as well get stats. No. Right?
No, I mean, it ain't really stats. He done did his stats. He first ballot, top 75.
But every year he's being John Stockton. His points per game average is going down by like 2.
It ain't gonna go down. I mean, he already one of the top to do it. His scoring assists, he's one of the top players to do it. His numbers now aren't percentage as much as it is totals. Mm-hmm. You hear what I'm saying? Totals,
but the totals are going down if he's scoring less.
No. I'm saying totals, career totals. Where are you on that totals list? So you're saying the numbers are going down, but he's moving up the totals list. He's moving up in the top scores. He's moving up in the top
at a slower pace than he was.
It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is he's moving up that list. He's not going down that list. So when you get to this part of his career, the percentages aren't as big as guys moving up the list. That's why that's why when they start talking about people's numbers, they're like, oh, he's top 20. He's a top 25 scorer now. Oh, he's a top 30 scorer now. That's what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. They're not saying, well, he's a top 30 scorer, but his percentage is 3% lower than it was 2 years ago. It's now because he's at that stage where everybody knows he's on the decline. He's at the end of his career. It's all about where are you going to finish amongst the greats in totals.
Yeah. But with Houston, he was averaging almost double total points a season. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is a sacrifice. It is a sacrifice to his totals if he keeps playing the guy with Embiid.
But who's to say he's gonna lift that when he goes to Houston? They have 2 premier guards over there, dude.
Man, come on now. If he's going to Houston,
that's what I'm saying.
He's going to average 30 a game.
Teja, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying when he gets to this stage of his career, I don't think the percentages are as big as where you are as the totals.
No, I agree. No, I totally agree. But saying that, we're talking about double the amount of output on a team like Houston.
I know what I'm saying, but just
he'll be climbing a lot faster at 2,400 points a season than 1,200.
I mean, but I think with him it comes down to just wanting to be where you want to be, like be down there in this.
Well, yes, that's definitely
be where you want to be. The expectations aren't high. You can play. He can go down there and play 4 more years and just be like. And now the percentages, as you said, they go lower and lower. But averaging 16 points here and there is 2 different things. Mm-hmm.
So, Teja, no coach you prefer? Just to end this topic.
Prefer?
You want him to go on the record, huh, man? He just wants you to go on the record. Say you don't know, man. Say I have no idea.
Yeah. If you want to wait till we get somebody, then you can kind of talk about where you see this thing going and. Sure, you can do that, but I mean, I have a preference. I want Cassell to be the guy. So I mean,
I think the only guys I have a problem with would be Vogel and I'm not really a Bud guy, but Cassell, Dan Tony, Monty Williams, Nick Nurse.
You'd have no problems.
I really wouldn't have a problem with any of them. I don't. They're not bad coaches. And I think Cassell deserves a shot. At what point does Cassell deserve a shot to be a head coach?
Yeah, he turned down that Temple job this year, this couple months back. So I mean,
I will say though, man, taking over this job, you got talk about expectations and ready to get fired. I mean, like you're starting the job on the hot seat, taking this job. So that's the only thing I'd be worried about if I were Cassell.
And T. Lue took over for Doc when Doc left the Clippers. Another assistant who jumped into that role.
Yeah, it's true.
Who was that?
Tyrone.
T. Lue took over for Doc after Doc left.
In the Clippers?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He had already been the head coach.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. But I feel like getting that new blood of a guy who wasn't a head coach before, kind of giving that, letting Cassell finally have his shot with this team where he's already developed relationships with. I mean, I think that would be.
Maury's a big fan of previous personal relationships, though, and he's a big fan of high-profile people. Cassell doesn't – he takes about 1.5, maybe a half of those. He has a recent relationship with him. Long-term, obviously, Dan Tony would have that, and I guess he's high-profile.
Yeah.
Well, we may have to look and see whose agent everybody is. So.
Yeah, I should start looking into that. Actually.
Which agency does he has a relationship with?
That's crazy. I didn't realize there was that big of a monopoly on head coaches' agents. Like there's only like you said, there's only a small amount. There's not many.
What's a small amount that has the top guys? It's not like it's 10. You know, you got like 10 candidates. They all got 10 different agents. Like most of these guys got the same agent.
Wow, that's wild.
So sometimes you have to look and see who more has a history of relationship with as far as agency.
Teja, there you go. Research for you.
And by the way, looking at total points career, Harden's at almost 25,000. To get into the top 10, he needs about 4 plus, almost 5,000. So those 1,200 a year are pretty important when trying to climb in to get into those top 10, top 5.
That's why I'm saying, like, you go somewhere, I'm saying the totals that's why I said the percentage don't matter as much as it's those totals.
Yeah. It'll take him a lot longer to do it in Philly. Let's put it that way. With those 1,200 every year, take him a lot longer to get up there. If he goes to Houston, he'll be top 10 in like 2 years, 3 years. I don't know if he could ever do it in Philly, the way it's going, the way the offense is structured, unless you have Dan Tony coming in and switching things around. I don't know, but it would. He has a chance to get top 10 if he goes somewhere to maximize his scoring. So really, it comes down to: does he want to win, like he says he wants, or does he want to have his totals be amongst the greats?
Yeah,
I mean, he's already amongst the greats.
Yeah, no, I mean, top 30 is awesome. It is great. It's amazing. But, top 10 score of all time is,
Yeah.